indoor dwellers get around the table in our respective houses and play Dungeons and Dragons. Tonight we are down a Heath, it looks like, until he is done with his phone call. But we can go ahead and get started. Where we last left off, we had our intrepid adventurers just now catching up to an island that they expected to find the divination stone on, and they were waylaid when on a particular watch they discovered that a water elemental was coming up out of the ocean and attempting to scour the beach for some wayward and unfortunate villagers. So coming in and saving the day, our captain commanded the key expertly to the defense of the villagers and impaled it with a steaming hot spear made out entirely of Imperium. So that's fun. You guys have cleared the beach. I make the broad assumption that your spell effects have ended. The sword wall is down and calm is sort of returning to the camp. How would you like to proceed?
Well, we need to get the Purium, the shot. What was it called? Spire shot.
Yep.
We need to reclaim those, I guess.
I was waving from shore because as
I
can no longer run on water.
Yeah, I will lower down. Oh, I feel strange, as if all my abilities have been mixed up. Let us take a moment and recover from the battle which just took place. So I'll bring the ship in and start working on recovering the spire shot.
Yes, as Chad has alluded to, our long preferred, that is to say my long preferred method for using magic spheres of power has recently been updated to 5th edition and released. So we've had all the casters and magic users in general sort of update their profiles to reflect the third-party rules included in spheres of power, which, on that note, in-game, while you guys are hovering sort of some distance above the beach, you actually see on the eastern horizon, because you are indeed pointed that direction, a sudden green flash that expands from a single location outward in all directions in like this huge dome of emerald green energy that expands seemingly infinitely in all directions until it washes over you and then passes and continues across, you would guess, the entire planet. As it passes through each of you, you feel some kind of fundamental change, and you suddenly become intuitively aware that your abilities, and of course those of the Spirit Stones themselves, are now suddenly different. So that just happened.
It must be this weird timeline we're in.
Well, that can't be good.
Quit messing with the timeline! I shout up at the guy.
I mean,
yeah.
So I take it Rocky is interested in recovering the spire shot, so the ship sort of glides down to the beach. The spire shot magnetically reattaches itself to the hull. Anything else you guys would like to do while you're here?
Were any of the spire shot damaged in the making of the last episode?
Yes.
Okay. So
one of them was thrown, missed its target and was thrown into the sword wall, and it proceeded to shred up that particular spire shot.
All right. How badly is it damaged?
Go ahead and make, we'll call it an athletics check.
First roll of the night.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be good. Athletics?
Yeah.
Well, with the 2 that I rolled, that makes it a 12.
Okay. Well, you don't make things worse. You also realize that the spire shot, like as you sort of beat on the large gashes that have been torn into the surface of this thing. You kind of beat on them a little bit with your big rocky fist, and you realize that this might take a little bit of time and effort to actually repair. You can't really tell the extent of the damage from your 12, but you do know that it would be like it would be a check that a person who was, I think, the bosun would probably make for the sake of, quote, repairing the ship. Until those repairs are successfully completed over the course of a day, that particular spire shot would be unavailable. You have 10 total, so you're down to 9 now.
Okay.
Until it can be repaired.
All right, and so I'm reading here that they have 100 hit points each. Do I need to worry about it being decreased on hit points?
No, I'm not super worried about that. The hit points are mostly if some other ship attempts to attack the key and specifically targets the spire shot.
Okay.
Because of the fact that the spire shot themselves, or as a unit, 100 hit, is it 100 hit points each?
It just said 100 hit points.
Okay.
I thought it was per, but you can tell me differently.
If it says 100 hit points for the entire category, I would say since there's 10, each one has 10 hit.
Okay, so this says Spire Shot 2, so this is obviously an old one. Armor class 15, hit points 100. One Spire becomes unusable per 10 damage taken.
That's it. That's what you're looking at. The 2 is that it has 2 stations from which a Spire Shot could be fired, and then the other ones sort of like slide into place.
We have gotcha. 2 Spire torpedo tubes.
Basically, it's 2 Spire Shot per round that you can fire. It takes some time for the other ones to sort of position themselves. You wouldn't, for example, if every single one of you was on board and every single one of you was commanding the shot, only 2 would actually fire within that round. So, so effectively what this means is that Spire Shot took greater than 5 hit points is the mechanics of it. So it needs to be repaired before it can be used again.
Okay.
Okay. So while you were on the beach, the majority of the villagers are still keeping a fairly good distance away in safety. A couple of them, several of them kind of come out and sort of trepidatiously look around them and like sort of look at the big wet spot on the beach and kind of look at you guys and hello?
Am I still down on the ground?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hello there, little people.
You say with your telepathy, I assume?
Yes, it goes right into their brains.
Okay, so they all, like, the 3 that are there just kind of go, whoa! Rocky hasn't learned mental etiquette yet. He's basically shouting at them. Yes, hello. Are you... Did the Wizards Tribunal send you?
No, they did not. We are freelancing today.
Oh, I thought perhaps you were one of the Earth Elementals. They'd been amassing armies of them. Elementals, I mean. I'm fairly certain that's this one that attacked us, the Water Elemental. We suspect that it maybe escaped, got away, broke control, which is why it was attacking us, of course. They're a bit testy when they aren't kept under strict guard. So the Wizards Tribunal didn't send you?
They did not. Why are they gathering elementals?
Well, the word is that the Corvians are going to attack sometime soon, and they were told that there would be an incursion, some sort of battle. We, of course, were trying to escape. We've been traveling south from Usoria all this time, and we've been trying to get as far away from the conflict as possible.
Well, good job.
Well, yes. We didn't do very well, did we? All the same, thank you for saving us. Is there anything we can do for you?
I don't think so. Are you trying to get to the Mage's Tower?
Oh no, we've been traveling away, as far away as possible. We've just heard rumors on the road, as we were passing by.
Okay, that means that I have been reading the map entirely incorrectly.
What do you mean entirely incorrectly?
Because if they were from Euphoria and we're on our way to the Tower of Towers, doesn't that mean we're not going there? Where are we
We're
going?
not going to the Tower Towers. We're going to a little island.
Southeast of it, right? Just
Yeah,
southeast.
correct.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not the navigator.
It's okay, Rocky.
Cook.
I hit the tractor beam and beam back up. All right, that's enough of that. Enough chatting with the locals.
If you guys look at the map, you'll see the Tower of Towers. In that large brown area is sort of the metropolis that expands out from the Tower of Towers itself. South of that peninsula, you'll find the intersection of longitude. That's where the island is that you expect. But you guys have been flying from the northeast toward the southwest, toward that point. And so where you are right now is basically between the land on the peninsula and the east coast. You're on that narrow neck of water, basically, on the east coast of that narrow neck of water. And that road that's going south from the dotted line that's the road they're traveling on. They're trying to get away from the conflict. So they're traveling south on that road.
Okay.
Yes, well, listen, we don't have much supply. We appreciate you helping our wounded. If there's something we can do for you, perhaps you have anything to spare. You said you were a cook. Do you have any Russian, anything you can give us? We're doing the best we can to gather things as we move along, but we could use anything. Oh, thank you. As you can see, the water elemental puts out our fire. Do you have kindling? Anything that could set the blaze?
Do I?
Just shoot your fire blast at
Yeah.
They help you.
I feel like all of my abilities to do that have suddenly changed.
Rocky, sit on that elevator over there and punch me.
And I'm on it. I make kindling. I can't light fire.
Oh no!
Oh,
Fire
wait, no.
start! Fire start! Uppercuts of fire.
That's a bad idea.
Okay.
Never mind.
It might be best if we take you into our ship for the meal, but I would have to ask the captain. Captain!
I'm concentrating on maneuvering the ship and recovering the spire shot.
Right. So every now and then during the conversation, you hear this.
Maybe it's not a good idea. Hero, can you light a fire?
How hungry are they?
Well, you can now that there hasn't been any trouble over the past couple of minutes, you can see the others are now sort of gathering up. You see about 13 individuals, and they're all kind of gathering around the first three that came out. Some of them are very young children. Some of them are families all huddled together.
Yeah, I can light a fire.
Jay, you've been very kind in letting me cook things, but I don't think I have any rations or anything.
You might be right. I think we've been relying on Bran to collect something.
Yeah,
we haven't really gotten specific about that. So yeah, we might need to actually give you it would be a good idea for you to buy some cook supplies someplace.
I have that on my list.
Excellent.
Ronnie has rations that she's been eating.
I can't figure it out, but I don't know what good berry is.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that in a second. Right, so you guys are attempting to light a fire.
Apparently.
Yeah, I'm checking into this new ability.
I'll say this: you guys, generally speaking, you have adventuring kits available. So
Okay.
someone is bound to have like.
They want to be fancy with it, Jay.
No, we
They
don't.
want to
Let's
use
do
their new
that.
powers to light the fire.
Okay, lay it on me.
No.
Okay, well, I've got
If somebody has kindling and like a what's it called?
Like, I have a flint and tinder
Yeah.
box,
A-
but
a
y'all are
striker?
trying to be all complicated with it.
You know,
Right.
I'd love to, but you know, it kind of feels like indulging in a darker part of myself. That I feel like
So great.
maybe we'll save that for another time.
Okay, so the firewood that's already there that was being used for fuel is well is well over damp, so it's not going to be functional at this point. If you wanted to gather some more, you could maybe go into the forest nearby and just collect some dry stuff.
How close is the nearest tree?
The nearest tree is maybe 50 feet away.
I want to go and get the nearest tree.
Okay,
Just the whole thing.
make an athletics check.
Okay.
To get the nearest tree.
I mean, it can't get much worse than the last time I tried to do this.
Right?
But it can't. It doesn't have to get much better. That is a 14 total.
Okay. You wrap your arms around the nearest tree, and of course, Rocky, thinking, "Of course, I'm strong. I can pull up anything." Goes for one that's maybe a good, 3 to 4 feet thick, and just, and you can hear like the popping and snapping of the roots, but it just will not come out.
I want to punch it.
Okay, you punch. I'm going to say it's a stationary object. Do your damage.
All right. See if I can knock any loose here. That is okay. It's okay. Points of damage to this tree.
Okay, you all watch from far away as Rocky goes up to hug a tree, and then he steps back and he kind of goes, and you hear this explosion as like splinters and shards of tree go flying in all directions, and you hear this enormous as you have now like this 2-foot hole pummeled straight into the tree, and you see the whole thing. It's maybe 30 feet tall, and it just begins going. And the tree has now basically fallen, being punched in half.
Excellent. I want to take it back to the campsite.
All right. I'm not going to worry about another strength check. You pull it free of the remaining splinters and strands, and there's now a very rough stump left behind, and you now have a very green, leafy tree with many branches and a fairly thick trunk.
Can you guys light this on fire? I'm saying to everybody.
Who's got flint and tinder?
I'm just destructive blast fire.
Several of the parents are now like ushering their children away from this very large tree that everyone is trying to now light on fire. Some of the teenagers are being rallied to go into the forest and just pick up dry wood. Who is making an attempt to light this thing on fire?
I mean, I can just use magic. But I destructive blast with fire. I was probably overkill for starting a fire.
No, but it's a big tree.
And it's green.
There is no overkill. There's no such thing.
There is only all of the magic. Okay, so how much damage does your destructive blast do?
3d8.
Go ahead and roll that.
That might be overkill.
It's pretty cool.
I
That
don't
we
usually hit 3 8-sided dice. Okay, here we go. I did not. 10 altogether.
Okay. So you explode another foot or two of the splinters off of the main trunk, and happily, like, there are several large, like foot and a half long splinters that are now like strewn about this 5-foot area and are on fire. but they're sort of scattered. And it looks like somebody with the presence of mind, one of the villagers, sort of snaps off one of the branches and then uses the leaves as like a broom and starts sweeping all of them together into a pile. And in short order, they dry out. There's a lot of popping and snapping and hissing and wheezing from these splinters, but they're thick enough to hold a fire for a little bit. So you should be fine for maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, I want to go back to the ship and get the biggest thing that I can that will hold water.
Okay. So you return to the ship and you come back with what looks like this sort of conical looking beaker with a sort of big tube shaped mouth.
This is awful. No, I need like a pot. I need a pot.
That would be included with cooking tools. You don't have those.
This is a mess.
Right now you have an alchemist's kit.
Rocky, how about you do a kebab instead?
I don't know what that is. What
You put food on a stick and you don't have to boil it. You just hold it over the fire.
So
what? All right,
What?
I'll start ripping sticks off of the tree to start.
all right, so you tear out a handful of splinters. What are you gonna do with it?
What food do we have available?
Good berries.
No, we actually don't have good berries.
You've got rations.
I don't know what good berries are.
Oh yeah,
you got rations.
Okay.
everything is gone.
Are there plants nearby? Or no?
Now go ahead and make an investigation check.
This is the worst.
Allison and I were talking at work today, and Allison's like, "Well, we could just have you have good berries," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
That's a 7.
7. You look around. It looks like what seaweed have washed on shore is now being eaten by the plesiosauri, and they are promptly returning into the ocean satisfied. You also see that there are some dried sort of like root-like plants that are growing out of the sand in various patches and whatnot, but you're not entirely sure if those are edible.
Bran, can you call a bunch of fish up onto the beach?
Oh no.
I can cast Harvest, which you can cause a plant to sprout food spontaneously. Each plant produces enough food to provide 3 medium-sized creatures for food with one day. This becomes 3 plants at 11th level. So, is there anything that can sprout fruit?
If you walk into the forest, you might be able to find something.
I mean, there's also some plethysauruses.
They're leaving, and I can't control them anymore. So,
Well,
Fire! Roast those two.
But are they leaving?
Yeah, they're meandering back out to sea. You can see one of them is still sort of mostly on shore, and the other two are now sort of descending. Their necks are still poking out.
Seeing the rest of the party is confused and fumbling around and not using their abilities, and I noticed myself that I seem to have. I would like to make an Arcana check to see if I can figure out what that green flash was. Now that I'm witnessing that everybody is apparently like
stymied by what's going on.
discombobulated by what just happened.
That's what it is.
Discombobulated.
A moment. So that gives me a 19.
So your Arcana check of 19 reveals that there is a little bit of residual energy that appears to be centralizing, like gathering itself specifically around the time stone.
Okay. Who's got the time stone right now?
Good question. Who has the time stone right now?
Gareth has it.
Okay, so Jareth, who we're going to assume is sitting there plucking his mandolin.
He's just there like this, and I just take it out of his pocket since he's not moving, and he's just standing
Just
there.
T-pose.
Yeah.
I'll be there shortly.
Nice.
The cardboard cutout speaks. Yeah, I'll just.
Cutout is slowly turning into that thing from the Sherlock Holmes movie in the 80s, where it's stained glass window that came to life?
You're the only person who saw it, maybe.
I was born in the 80s. Hey, back me up. You're old too.
What nice.
I love Sherlock Holmes, but I don't recall that one.
It was like the 80s. It's literally the first CGI in a movie ever.
I mean, I loved The Great Mouse Detective. That was a fantastic movie.
It came out around the same time with me.
Just
I'm
log
getting
on.
it.
Just log on.
So Jareth doesn't stop you from taking the time stone?
Yeah.
I just asked to observe it.
Yeah.
Okay, so energy emanating into the time stone. I suppose I will try to.
He says it's in the ship, so you would have to take it out of the ship.
Oh, like it's socketed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on the ship. Can I just go to the sockets and then tap into the stone?
Yeah, you
by
can do
touch?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it. So you tap on the stone, and I want to say is it Amser Hanfadal? Yeah, I remembered his name, guys. I'm so happy. So Han, as he has asked you to call him, Han appears, and he says, "Hello, Captain. How may I help you?"
There appears to be a strange anomaly that has caused some disruption with magical abilities. The energy I've felt is flowing into the time stone. What is this?
Yes, I felt that too. There was some kind of anomaly. I believe it originated from the spire, the Emerald Spire, my mother lode. I can't quite understand what's happening, but something feels as if some force has followed you through time.
Oh, that can't be good.
Around this moment, while you're on the outside of the ship, those who are on the beach now suddenly see an opening square window of space that opens onto a hexagonal room with a table at its center. You see two individuals, one of whom is the tall, black-haired, top-knotted, blue-robed Sirius, and the other is an archmage that I don't think anybody here has met. I think maybe Jareth might have met him. But he walks through wearing gray robes, very long white beard, sort of floppy gray cap with a little tassel on the bottom, and he sort of arms folded and walking out into this space. He turns around and he says, "Yes, Master Sirius, I believe this will do. I shall call you if I need additional help." And Sirius holds his hand up to what, from your perspective, is an invisible window, and he says, "Be careful, Tempest. At some point, other anomalies may occur." And as he drags his hand across that invisible window, the square of space shuts, and you see the gray wizard Tempest standing on the beach, looking around.
I'm afraid.
Ah. Is Yara present?
Fire the spire shut. Thunk.
Right?
No. Can I hear that? I'm on the ship, so I don't know if I even hear that.
No, like you're
Okay.
you're in the earshot at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you could theoretically see through the arcane hologram that shows you the outside of the ship, but right now you're paying attention to Han. So
I don't think that I ever met either Sirius or Tempest, so
nope.
I don't know who these people are. So I'm just gonna
You wouldn't know who either of them are.
I might be familiar with Sirius because he operates the warp tower.
Yes, in fact, Sirius and Tempest are both known to you very, very intimately because they are fellow guild masters, and also because they were the ones who sent you out here to find these guys in the first place because there had been a shift in the timeline.
Yeah, but all these other guild masters are probably like, they just think I'm like some punk upstart because the war guild didn't exist until like a month ago.
Yeah.
Even that. So
So Tempest will step forward, look around at the villagers, and sort of look over them, and then look over to the rest of you on the beach. He sees Rocky trying to stab things. He sees Bran looking around frantically for something to shove into onto a stick. He sees Ronnie and Hero sitting there arguing about how stupid the others are in trying to make fire. And he basically walks up to what he considers to be the most competent looking person there, who is...
Consult the sheet.
You just roll randomly.
We're going to go Hero, Ronnie, Rocky, or Bran.
It's literally.
He walks up to Ronnie and he says, "Pardon me, dear. I take it you do not know me. My name is Tempest, the name of the Time Guild. I believe you've met Sirius, my compatriot."
Yeah, I know Sirius.
Very well. Please, if you would not mind, is Yara in your company at this time?
Yeah, she's up there.
Ah, yes. Very good. Smaller than I expected it to be. Very well. I shall talk to you presently, I'm sure. And he begins sort of calmly waddling toward the key.
Isn't it up in the air?
Well, it's down low enough to pick up the spire shot, so.
Oh, okay.
It's sort of in park mode, you know. All right, you guys watch as he marches up, sort of ducks a little bit to, hunches to get under what would be like the 5-foot distance between the iris-shaped opening in the base. And he sort of looks up at the iris, runs a finger around the outside edge, and it opens for him. And he kind of looks to you, nods, clicks his heels, and he begins levitating up into the ship.
Who's he?
Iris closes underneath him. And he says, Yara, perfect. I wonder if you could help me with something. I seem to have foreseen some odd events, and I hope that you might be able to lend some credence to them.
Archimagus, please.
Indeed, not at all. So, have you by any chance discovered the nature of the time disturbance that originated when your compatriots came through the Emerald Spire?
I believe it has something to do with the Emerald Spire. That is where the energy is emanated from.
Yes. We've just now detected a sudden surge in energy from the spire, and thought maybe it would be worth consulting with Amser Hanfodol, who I believe you currently have available. Yes?
I'll motion. Isn't he like right? Just he's not like a holograph, or is he in the stone, or is he
no?
there?
He's a hologram. He's a stone spirit. He's projecting himself visually.
Well, I should have known that a time mage would not arrive early nor late, but exactly when he means to. So your timing is impeccable.
Indeed. Very good. I did not want to be presumptuous, you see. Your Eminence, and Han will sort of bow and say, I don't know if I've met you yet, but I'm glad to have met you now. And I'm sure I will be happy in the future that we will have met at this time. And perhaps in times not yet to be. And he says, indeed, your wisdom is impeccable. Your Eminence, I wonder if you might consult with me about a few matters. There seems to be some disturbances in the schema of the time-space fabric. Is there an opportunity at this moment to speak to you? Han sort of looks to you, Yara, and kind of, do you have more need of me at this time?
He's asking me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just merely trying to ascertain what's interfering with our abilities right now.
Indeed. Could you give me any more detail about what has happened immediately preceding and perhaps following the energy surge?
I only know a visual observation. There was a green wave of energy emanating across the land.
Indeed, we saw the same from our towers. Anything strange out of the ordinary?
Well, I do believe that the team, the Rockettes, has caused some temporal anomaly that is wreaking havoc across this particular timeline, but I don't know the extent of what exactly has been changed and what has not. I surmise that they've switched places with themselves in a tangent timeline.
Indeed. Well, this is most disconcerting. Perhaps we should call them inside and converse with them about the matter. Shuffling over to the...
I'll click the loudspeaker. Hey, get inside now. We got the Wizards Council here, so if you want to go inside, that'll be good. Thanks.
That's so good. Why do I feel like Chad is channeling the PA from work? He clicks his heels together a couple of times. The iris opens and he begins levitating down out of the key. And he sort of bends down and he says, "Would you all be so good as to join us inside? We have an important matter to discuss. You'll find the food that you need, Saborian, over just there. It's not here yet, but a large flock of crabs is due to be arriving in, I would say, about 30 seconds. Very well, I'll meet you all inside." And he clicks his heels together again, begins levitating back up into the ship, and the iris closes.
Oh boy.
I'm sticking leaves onto sticks.
I'll saunter into the ship there, I guess.
Okay. Opens, you can climb up into the ship.
Did he want all of us to go?
The loudspeaker comes on.
Yes, I wanted all of you over here, please. Thank you.
I can never understand what they're saying through that thing. I'll pass the stick to one of the villagers. Here, you take over.
Okay. Around this time, indeed, a large flock of blue crabs comes crawling up out of the water just on the other side of the sort of presumably inedible roots.
Yeah, I'll go to the ship
Okay.
and let the villagers fend for themselves, apparently.
Okay.
If they can't catch crab,
There's no hope for them. They deserve to die.
We come back, there's just a pile of bodies of peasants with crabs crawling all over.
They're all like
We tried.
gnawing
It
on
just...
human bones. The one kid is left just going, "I had to."
I mean, if crabs killed them, they probably weren't going to make it very long anyway. So...
True.
All right, so I take it everybody's cramming themselves on board the ship.
Yes.
All right. So the villagers now equipped with a loose fire, some sticks, and a flock of blue crabs that they can now chase down, fend for themselves, give you AC thank you, and all of you climb back aboard the ship. Tempest stands beside Amser Hanfadol on one side and Yara on the other, and he says, "Yes, I've gathered you all in here because we have a bit of important business to conduct. You see, we've tracked the anomaly surge of energy from the Emerald Spire just now, and we believe that it might have something to do with events that may have been altered from their proper course. Tell me, previous to today, did you experience any changes in the way that your magic has functioned?"
I mean, a little bit. It seems like things just get rewritten every few years.
It's rewritten every
I
few.
don't remember if I've casted any magic recently.
When you say rewritten, what exactly do you mean?
Well, I've got to get my spellbook edition updated to match the the council changes it every so often. So
Right. You there, Saborian. What exactly changed about the last time?
Well, that's the thing is that I can't even remember what I don't remember.
Don't you? And he'll kind of hobble up
Like
to
I know
you.
I used to eat, but I don't know what I used to eat.
How strange. He'll reach up a finger, if I may.
No, you may not.
Oh. Any others who happen to have strange experiences with their magic?
I haven't cast anything today.
Can I open one of the doors and try to shoot one of my ranged radiant punches out? Just out.
Yeah. So you'll summon the light within, and you'll cast a radiant punch. Do you have the light blast shape?
I do.
Okay, you fire a destructive bolt with the light blast shape.
But it's significantly different from.
I mean, okay, so it's strange, right? Actually, I'll say this: roll an Arcana check.
Ooh, that's gross.
Uh,
16, not too bad.
Okay, fair enough. So what you notice is that the appearance of the actual blast itself is almost identical. You don't notice really anything different about that, but you sense some fundamental difference in the way that you've summoned it, the way that it flows through you, your interaction with it, the way that you conceptualize it when you want to use it. All of those are somehow inherently different, but you can't recall what that difference is. You can't remember the way it used to be. You just know that it didn't used to be this way.
Okay. It's something's not entirely right, but that seemed normal.
He sort of hobbles up to you a little bit. He says, "May I?"
I look at Bran and I say, "Sure."
Yeah, very well. He'll just sort of gently tap you on your forehead. And go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw, please.
If he knocks you out, I'm going to knock him out.
Wisdom?
Yeah.
11.
Okay, you fail. As a consequence, you sense your mind, your memories, suddenly being added to. You feel that in addition to the set of memories that you currently have inside of your brain, you suddenly not only regain the memory of how your radiant blasts used to work, but you also have several other merging timelines worth of memories all cramming into your mind at once. And the further back you go, the more divergent they become. And so you remember yourself being, in outer darkness for millennia. Sometimes it's only 100 years. Other times you're falling to Athanasia. Other times you're falling to different planets and worlds. It seems very disorienting and confusing. But then as he gently places his finger on your forehead again and leaves it there, you feel this array of timelines that you now have access to sort of merging into one and sorting themselves out and sort of collating and becoming an organized almost file of memories. And they begin to, as the longer he leaves his finger on your forehead, you discover them being sorted into categories and being much more organized than they were before. And he kind of closes his eyes and meditates for a moment. And as he releases his finger from your forehead, you realize that all of those memories, timelines worth of memories, now start to sort of evaporate like water on a very hot stone slab. And after several moments, you discover that you couldn't remember what it is you just remembered.
I go through like this range of emotions where it's just like, holy! I almost punch him at one point. And then just kind of inspired for another point, and then just kind of start looking at my hands again.
Mm-hmm.
Are you all right here? That looked to be quite disorienting.
Oh, I don't know. What did you do?
I looked into all of your potential pasts.
I get an expression of nervousness with that.
He says, "Have no fear. You are quite a remarkable individual. I am honored to know you. Tell me," and he turns to Bran and he says, "Have you ever had the experience of transmogrifying your physical form into that of a 15-foot tall, scissor-handed troll?"
I think it was more cat-like, but yes.
Ah. Something like that. The past is fuzzy. When you could do those things, do you recall them being in the same place as the way that you interact with magic now?
No, back then it was more that I don't know, I feel like I did this, and I will, what do I want to do? Let's bump up to a large creature,
Okay.
and I'm going to go with Panther.
You're going to go with what now?
Panther.
Panther. Okay. Are you a bipedal panther or a quadrupedal?
4.
4-footed. Okay. So you grow into a large-sized panther. He appears to be completely unfazed by this, as if he expected it as one of several possibilities, and he sort of says, "Yes, I believe I understand what's happening here. You see, it seems that the universe functions under a certain set of rules, you might say, guidelines, ways that mana flows into and out of individuals, and those lucky enough to channel it abide by these rules, whether they understand it or not. It appears that the anomaly that you experienced some time ago before your travel to this time appears to have followed you through. I am uncertain what this portends for the future, but I am certain that it cannot be inherently evil or good, simply the result of perhaps some detail in the past that has changed. Tell me, this transmogrification power that you find yourself in possession of, where were you the last time you used it?
We were outside of a house and we were going inside to kill everyone, and I think we did it.
I pet the big cat.
Sort of a big house. Could you describe this house?
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I yank my hand back.
I just remember
a cat.
Fucking cats.
Yeah. Charles, do you remember where it was?
Huh? This is close to 2 years ago, so it's pretty fuzzy.
That's fine. So it was outside of Creation Tower. You remember that there was an independent tower, and then there was like a big kind of like a Nordic-style longhouse that was used as a dining hall, and then there was a building that was built to connect them that had a second floor with kind of a balcony-ish sort of space. So if you describe that to him, he will say, Creation Tower. Yes, yes. One moment, if you will. And he sort of hobbles over to Amser Honfadal, and he begins discussing things. And after a moment, he will draw a couple of symbols on the side of the wall of the key, and the sort of the ring that composes the outer hull of the key will begin to shift and move. You've seen this happen, of course, when you've installed different stones into the sockets. And that, of course, brings the time stone sort of onto a wall as opposed to the floor. And then he taps the time stone, and what used to be the humanoid shape of Amser Hanfadel now changes and begins to take the form of the Creation Tower. And you see playing out in real time, as if in a recording, the events of that day, where all of you had attempted to come in and sneak your way in to the cat antics right now are distracting the crap out of me. Those of you on Twitch, I know you can't see it, but Bran the cat is every cat ever. You guys are awesome. Okay, so you watch as your initial attempt to get in by deception fails, and the soldiers begin calling in reinforcements from inside. They begin surrounding you. The fight breaks out. Indeed, Bran does transform into this large cat sort of shape, and you guys are ridiculous. As you watch, you see that everything is playing out exactly as you remember it. But then he waves his hand and makes a sort of like a turning motion, and you see that the speed of the playback begins to move forward in little jumps until finally you see that events start to unfold a little differently than you expect. As everybody sort of is coming into the Creation Tower building, and then that group of Fenris, sort of the party of adventurers that Einar had with him, they begin to come in. You see that there is a second that begins to sneak in from around one of the corners of the outside of Creation Tower. And as this is happening, inside Creation Tower, you notice that there is a bit of a change to the way that the battle went down. Things start to sort of cascade in sort of temporal changes. You see one of the individuals, now one of the Fenris individuals, the monk, with the little tusks coming out of his, the fangs coming out of his mouth, it turns and sort of looks off in the direction of where you see Ronnie, and then arranging to sort of follow those two on the outside. Ronnie scrambles up the chimney, waits, and the monk, not seeing where she has gone, comes around that direction and sort of looks around, kind of sniffs the air a little bit. And then you see Ronnie, Assassin's Creed style, jump down from the chimney, plant her hidden blade, her wrist, into the neck of this Fenris guy, and you see him just slump to the ground, dead. She drags him under a bush and then just hides, runs off into the forest and hides under a bush.
I nudge Ronnie with my elbow and say, "Nice move."
Don't touch me.
A couple of, about 10 minutes later, you see that there is a hyena who gallops out of the main building and starts running away, far enough away from Ronnie that she doesn't notice it. You also see that indeed the sort of hybrid wolf form of Einar comes climbing out of the chimney and now scampering off into the woods. And after a moment of conversation that you can't hear because there's no sound, Einar and Ronnie have a bit of a short dialogue, and then Ronnie suddenly vanishes in the effects of her warp stone. And you see that Einar is a bit sort of taken aback and now sort of stumbling through the underbrush trying to find her. And out of the main house of the Creation Tower, you see flying overhead Erlisung, who lands in front of Einar. They have a bit of a conversation. It looks like the moment is very tense until they leap at each other, and then the entire scene just kind of fritzes out and goes black. He points at all the rest of you and he says, "Do you all remember this happening?"
Before my time.
I remember it because I was there.
He'll step up to you, and it seems like he studies you from about 5 feet away and just sort of not really looking at you, but looking near you as if to see if he can detect some kind of smell coming off of you. He doesn't wrinkle his nose or anything. He's not actually smelling anything, but that's kind of the impression you get, right? He's near you, sort of trying to detect something, and he says, "Yes, it's you. What have you done?"
What are you talking about?
You were there, you say. Were you the one on the inside or the outside?
Oh,
Hmm. Is that how it proceeded in your time or in ours?
I did one time, and then I went back and did the other.
So this time then. Well, it seems that there are some consequences to changing the past. He looks you dead in the face and he says, "I don't suppose there's anything else you've taken it upon yourself to perform?"
Just a couple other things.
I will be blunt, as it could mean the stability of our time-space fabric. Anything you have done, you should disclose now so that I can accommodate for it.
What do you mean by accommodate for it?
Would you like the lesson in Arcana, or would you rather just let me do my job?
I want to know if you're going to try to undo stuff I did.
I can assure you I will attempt to prevent the unraveling of the tapestry of our reality and worry about your interests later.
The only thing major that I did, which obviously didn't work, was trying from dying. And then I also tried to save one of my other friends from turning into a fire demon.
I see. Well, if we are lucky, time has attempted to correct these changes. Your friend, the one who turned into a fire demon, have you seen her recently?
Yeah.
And how was she?
She was engaged.
He's taken aback a little bit, as if he didn't expect this particular response, and he kind of nods. Yes, I understand that pain. Very well. Was she as she was before?
She was still fiery, but not evil.
Oh, good. Then it seems the time has attempted to correct at least some. Let us hope that in this case, it will be enough. As for your other friend, we can only hope he is dead.
Well, I haven't seen him yet, so I'm assuming he probably is. I didn't get a chance to follow up.
I will look into the matter. In the meantime, I suggest that perhaps you do not go looking for him. I would wager that your interaction with your fiery friend may have caused a chain reaction of events that resulted in the flash that you saw today.
I was kind of a... I can't say what Ronnie would really say because we're afraid. He wasn't really a friend, so I probably won't go looking for him.
Very well. Seems like great lengths to go to for someone you consider not to be your friend. Very well. I must return to my tower to do some more calculations and perhaps prognosticate. If you need me, Yara, you know where to find me. At that moment, he just sort of waits awkwardly for about 10 seconds and then turns and, walking in a direction that only he understands. The square of space opens, and you see the interior of the not the Space Guild, the Warp Guild, and he steps back through, and then he turns, and as a last statement before the window closes, he says, Yara, you will find that when you return to Euzoria, I believe your guild will have been renamed. Adieu.
Okay then. Well, I'll deal with that when we return.
Rocky's a good name. Did you call it Rocky?
I didn't change it to anything, but I don't know. The consequences for messing with the temporal weave are beyond me. But clearly they've changed things. Somewhat. Needless to say, this is why I trained to be a war mage. A little more straightforward than...
And as you say those words out loud, Yara, you realize that the word war, doesn't feel right.
We're universal mage. Why did I just say that?
Should we have told him that the moon looks closer now than it did before?
No, but I'm sure he noticed.
He seemed like he knew a lot more than we do.
Okay.
Well, we have a mission to do, yes?
I'll shoo Bran out of the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
You just go up to me, you're like...
Is
Get him out of the
do you
kitchen.
want to take a quick break?
The entire time, Branther. Branther has been roaming around the key, just causing mayhem. I love it.
Prancer, get off the table. It's like squirt bottle him or whatever.
All right, yeah, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break. We'll be back in a second.
Ronnie.
We're back.
Welcome back, everybody. So you find yourself on the beach, taking off in the key, leave the now well-fed villagers to their blue crab dinner. They seem to have amassed more kindling from the forest and are now sitting next to a roaring fire and cooking up their crabs on sticks. I presume that you are flying ship in the direction of the island.
Yes.
All right. So it's
Before we make it to the island, I want to refill my health because I used it.
Sorry, I forgot to remind you.
It's okay. I remembered. I'm gonna fill it up with some of that poison I got from that alchemist.
okay. Great.
I just want to make sure you said it.
While we're going, I'm a little taken by all that touch, so I'm gonna want to try to. I guess I don't know how I consciously try to do this, but I want to try to do a glow just on my fist. The creature it's just a 5-foot radius of white light, and then 15 feet after that. But I want to like just play around with a couple of harmless glow things. I don't
Sure. So what you notice as you put your hand out in front of you and will it to be filled with the light, you notice that it does have to glow, and the longer you have it resting there, well, this is going to be a weird reference. It's going to sound completely stupid, but have you Chelsea, ever looked at the sun? Forget it.
as a 30-year-old person, so
Right. So you know how when you look at it and like your eyes move in various ways, it sort of seems to take this almost amorphous kind of amoeba-like shape because it's starting to like wear down your cones. That's kind of the impression you start getting when you look at your hand like this. It becomes so bright to your eyes, it's starting to kind of burn your ability to see a little bit. But another thing that you notice is that this isn't just a simple illusion. This is like an actual sort of nimbus of plasmic energy that begins sort of like amassing the outside of your hand and then taking sort of blobby, almost like plasmic lava lamp kind of shape that sort of just like hovering, forming together, and then dissolving and pulling apart. And you start to sort of like realize that you can shape this a little bit. Yeah.
And I also just I don't know that I can like, manually turn it off. I don't see that it can so it just lasts 7 minutes.
No, any spell effect, in my opinion, it doesn't say it outright. It ought to can just be any caster.
Yeah, I said it then after I fly myself enough.
So as you're staring at it, you start playing with this sort of like globule, weightless form. Kind of shake yourself a little bit, let go. You notice that it just disperses as like a cloud in outer space. It just begins to just in all directions until it's completely dissolved and unrecognized.
Weird. Alright, that's neat. I just want to play one.
Cool. All right. So it doesn't take long. It's only you're going to get there in 4 hours. Anything you want to do?
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I want to go find Ronnie.
Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't think I'm doing a very good job as the cook.
You should start. All you need to do is practice.
Yeah, probably.
Do you want some help?
Yeah, you were a great cook. Would you mind teaching me?
Sure, I'll teach you everything I know.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So to start off, people don't eat leaves. tree.
I've seen them eating like leafy things before.
Mhm. They just randomly off of trees. There's only certain leaves people can eat.
Oh, really?
It's okay. We'll find food and we'll you slow. Those are kind of high level. We'll start simple.
Okay.
Okay.
And I boil water and I put stuff in it and I like stir it around.
That's pretty close. That's kind of like putting a soup,
Okay.
but it's usually more just water.
Yeah, I put like ration packs in it.
Right, but the rations are kind of dry, and so
That's what the water's for.
I know it technically is edible, but it doesn't taste very good. We're going to teach you about seasoning.
Like when it's cold out and when it's
That's seasoning. Seasoning is when you add flavor.
oh.
You gotta don't add too much flavor when it's the right amount.
Yes, I think I need some lessons.
Okay.
We can cut from there.
Next time you start, it's time for me to love you.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
I thought you were going to talk about this.
That is
Conversation about eating time. Nope. I cook very good. Oh, but
Ronnie was the best cookie in the show. Sure.
Rocky wouldn't know one way or another. He doesn't eat. Yep. That's it.
Before we arrive at the island, can I have a refresher about that note with like that secret note that like solved the thing out of?
yes. Let me go see if I can. I think exactly where it's going.
No, you didn't figure it out. I had to tell you. And like, oh, okay, and then everybody was like, that wasn't important. Practice their teleport spell.
What's the ball for, Dave?
My son is having fun with me.
I thought Rocky was going to be the Ronnie. What did you do?
Oh, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about that.
I don't. My daughter is as my.
They don't seem to like my cooking.
It's all putting into it.
I put lots of love into it.
That's why they're eating it.
Oh, so if you are interested in making this baking, actually this way so you guys can see it upright. So you pin the map screen and you should be able to see it.
It is.
I'll also take. I would take a picture of it.
We can't really see any impression. Is there any writing on it?
There is some writing on it. Let me look at it from my end and see if I can maybe take a screenshot or something because
we can kind of see where the writing is, but we can't read it.
okay. I'll tell you what. Why don't I take a picture with my laptop and I'll send it to you.
Send it to the classroom, and I'll open it on the browser.
Yeah. Let's see. So Camera. Photo. Okay.
Excuse me.
We're going to take a little bit of coordination, but I am hoping that it works out okay. Hopefully that did what I wanted. Yeah, it's a little better. It's not terrible. Nope. Yeah, nope. There we go. It might be a little bit easier to see. So I'll go ahead and post this because it's about as good as I can get it from my end. Meanwhile, I'll actually give you something else that might help as well. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. How do I close that? Classroom. Go create material. File. Upload. Camera. Ooh, there's even. There you go. There's even a file for it that is right there. Okay. So this. Here we go. And this is Asia. All students post. Okay. I think you have the most accurate version of this that I can provide to you on Classroom. So you can enlarge it as necessary. And unfortunately, I can't make it any darker or more vibrant, I guess. So you'll kind of just have to work with chat.
It's like
However,
you can't see the image, but it's a JPEG. It doesn't look like it's corrupted, but it's not opening. You can send it in Messenger, and I'll just open it.
I can see it.
You can see it? Hang on. Let me refresh.
Yeah. I still can't read it. It's like the markings are all very light, but
yeah. Unfortunately, I think this might be one of the casualties of the pandemic because I don't know how else to make it visible to y'all. Let me see if I open it and maybe just increase the intensity. Lightning filters, contrast. Ooh, that could be a thing. Oh, look at that. Nope, that's not helpful. Well, that's something at least. Nope. Opposite that. This. Okay, I've bumped the contrast up as much as I possibly can. Adjusted the other levels to see if there's maybe any way you guys can see something a little bit more accurate. So I will upload it again to you guys. And save. So go ahead and refresh your Classroom, and you should be able to see it.
that's a little better.
Yeah, it's as dark as I can make it, I think, for the sake of being able to see what everything says. Now, you will recall, as well as notice, that everything that's written here is in a script that Ronnie will recognize as Thieves' Cant. But in Thieves' Cant, it's also encoded.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get you. Oh, I remember now. Yeah. This should actually help. times when taking notes as DM turns out to my benefit. Here we go. Okay.
Is this something that we have right now?
You have that map in possession.
Okay.
And you,
Before the pandemic, it was like a code, and
yeah,
you guys spent forever trying to figure it out. And then you figured it out just to be like, that was fun.
okay, so I want to make sure you understand this because it was coding, because the game was code what's going on here. I asked if he wanted me to give him a clue. He said, no, I want a clue, I don't want a clue. So I gave you clues. This was admittedly a very hard cipher to code, even for somebody who had the cipher in front of them. So just going to literally give you the translations because I think at this point, part of the code is assume the fact that you don't have access to the original documents, you can't see it well. So I'm going to go ahead and post those images directly, and you guys can do whatever you want to with them.
You can remember that now.
All right, so this turns that way, done, and then I'm going to increase the intensity on this so it's a little easier to see. And pull this down a little bit. Okay, and then I'll crop it. Or not, whatever, that's fine. Okay, and then that's that.
He totally forgot about this and watched it again.
I mean, it was fun once upon a time, but
A lot of things just happened in the last year.
And I still remember that
Yeah.
when who had the baby.
We had a map, guys. We had a freaking map. Okay, so I'm going to add those files to Classroom along with so it's the same document. Or I mean, it's the same on Classroom. You should be able to see it. I'll tell you when it's later. Okay, so I'll save that and I'll post it in Messenger as well, so you should have access to that as well. So basically what the cells down to is you now have a physical map, and I'll explain what all the features of the physical map are so you understand what I'm talking about when we refer to the words. So if you'll notice the map, this is a line indicating a coast. All this area in here appears to be sand. This area here on out is water, and this area here going up this direction is water. You will also notice that this rock is labeled. This tree, this stream going off into the water here. There's an arrow that points that way with a note. This little area of water here, there's a little puddle, it looks like, with a single symbol there. This has got its own symbol with a description pointing that way. There's a word down here that's crossed out with another word written to be labeled with a word. And then there's a portion of the map down here that's entirely just missing. So that's what you find, that's what you have available to you at this moment. Ronnie also has the Usorian Thieves cipher in front of her, and then it has all of those words. So you'll notice the word that says decoy stash. That's this area down here. The ones that say submerged dock is this here. The one that says poison is pointing to this little puddle of water. It also says don't drink. Don't drink, I think, is right here. Yeah. And then you have two swamp with an arrow. You have storage is this here. I think. Let's see. Is this product? Nope. That's product. That's product, and then this is treasure, but it's been crossed out and replaced. Oh, treasure's been crossed out and replaced with product. That's not product. That's something else. But that's all you have. Oh, this is what says poison here, and that says don't drink. There we go. Product is crossed out, and then treasure is listed. So,
Rocky, do not make soup out of the water over here.
Okay.
Charles, I think you got an echo.
Me?
Something. There was a repeating.
That sounded like a crazy cricket.
Yeah, like that.
Not
It
my crickets. My crickets are
It
in
was
the
not.
closet.
Nice.
So, is there anything else? You still have another hour or two before you arrive at the island. Anything else you guys want to do?
Can I short rest? I lost some hit points.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Probably the only one.
So, from like a year ago, do I remember overhearing those people talk about any of this stuff? Like, is the decoy stash not like, is that like actually like a decoy, and probably storage might be where we would want to go? I don't remember all of it.
Right. So, what Ronnie remembers about the conversation she overheard, you think back, and in your mind, you are reminded of that time when you were infiltrating your dad's office, and you had snuck into that overturned cabinet, at the back of which opened up onto this wall that separated your dad's office from the apartment next door. And you remember listening through the hole and hearing that there was some kind of a shipment that was expected at the regular spot or something like it. And the person in question, where am I supposed to go? And he says, there's a map included, just look in the crates. And then you looked in the wall and there was a bunch of crates. And you opened the crates up and you found that scrap of paper, but the corner had been torn off. And there was a couple of other items inside that you could kind of pulled out. And so then they said, look, if you don't get there soon, we're going to pick it up ourselves. So long as it's gone, the guy sending the stuff will double check and expect that it has made it to its destination. So either you take it or we will. And so he's like, okay. So it's expected that at least some buyer is meant to come out this direction and pick up his product. But if that buyer doesn't take it, then there's some other group that's going to be stopping by. And one or the other of them is the Thieves Guild in Usoria.
Okay. I think I just put something together and it took me a year to do it. The sniper guy that could always see like where Ronnie was and could see through her disguise. He was looking through a stone, wasn't he?
Oh.
No, I think this guy has I can't even say it. The stone we're looking for.
The divination stone?
The divination stone.
So
That's a handy stone for a sniper to have.
Is that what divination does?
I don't know.
I'm a little confused now too. I posted some notes that I had from last year, and I feel like I acquired those whenever I was like communing or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would have been me looking out of the actual stone.
So, the notes that you made, I think, were the result of you looking through the one of the orbs in the Dreaming Desert.
Right.
So it wasn't that you were communing; it was that you were looking through a crystal ball located inside of a psychic mindscape that was somehow connected to Kov Amadul, the Mind Stone. So who's to say exactly what you were looking through and the destination you were seeing? But you did get the impression that it was connected to the divination stone, yes.
I guess that could be actually like the mother lode or something.
All right, anything else you guys want to do with the time you have before you arrive? Okay, hearing nothing. As you get closer, you notice that the weather is starting to get worse. The clouds begin to gather, the rain begins to fall, and off in the dim on the horizon, you notice that there are several lightning bolts that appear to strike the exact same place several times.
That goose guy.
You see that there are flocks of birds flying away, but only a minute or two later, you see one bird, a goose, that appears to be flying against the wind toward the island in question. As you get closer, you realize that it's going the same place you are. I would like everybody to please make perception checks as you get close.
18.
17.
18.
Hi.
Charles?
8.
Okay, and Jack?
Can't hear you.
7.
Okay. So Charles and Chad and Jareth, you three are busy piloting the ship. You're trying to make sure that everything's on course and that things are functioning correctly. You're checking the weapon systems and such. Meanwhile, you have Hero, Rocky, and Ronnie. Took me a second. It's hard to remember your guys' names and also your characters' names all at the same time. It's one of those DM things. As you guys get closer, you're able to zoom and enhance basically, and the arcane hologram sort of brings the island closer to you, and you see that it's isolated the outline of the bird. You see that it has isolated some key features of the island as you get close to it. You recognize it as the island from this map. And you see that something different than what you notice on the map is that there is a pirate ship, what you assume to be, with all the usual black sails and a crimson flag with a pair of crossed swords and a skull flying from the flag, now out almost horizontally in the wind. You see that it is docked here, where that hidden dock was labeled, and the rest of the island kind of goes out this direction around here. So this is just what appears to be the most opportune place for a ship to come and dock. But you do see sort of off this direction that there is a large sort of swampy area with a sort of rundown old hut, and there are some other features to the island. You see that most of this here closer to the water is sea, but on this direction you see that the sand sort of continues, and there are a number of sort of palm trees and large rocks and such. As you get even closer, on maybe a minute or two out, you see that there are a number of people, humanoid folks and some animal folk, running around on the beach, and they all appear to be engaged in combat in some way. You can't make out exactly what they're fighting or how many or what's going on, really. It's difficult to tell the allies from the foes from this distance, especially considering the wind and all of the weather. There is a sort of a light fog that starts to sort of come up off the water, so it's difficult to make out the details from this distance, but that's what you see coming in. What is your angle of attack?
go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm just.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I cannot do anything unless I am right there on the ground. But
I'm
that's just a
thinking that's
personal
like
problem. So.
a lot of us. So
You want us to drop you on top of that pirate ship and we'll just all stay in here?
I'm just saying, if we're going to stop, I can't help from up here. That's all.
Just going to assume they're bad.
Yeah, there's just a ship sitting there. If they haven't done anything to us, we don't even know who they are.
Could they be after what we're after?
Probably. I mean, they're probably after the loot, which is like.
Okay, so last time I assumed someone was after the things that we were after. We almost kicked your friend's little adventuring party. So, assuming is bad. I've learned.
They're after a ton of treasure that used to be hidden in my dad's old shop in the basement or the building next to it. And we could totally go after that. I'm all for it. But I think the most important thing is we're after that divination stone. And if my hunch is right, this super crazy sniper has it. And he probably already sees us, already knows we're coming, and we're after.
Is it possible that, I mean, if he doesn't have it, where would the stone be? Would it be with your dad's stuff?
I mean, my best guess, my only guess is it's on this island somewhere. It probably would have been where it said treasure on the map, but that's X'd out now. That's my best guess. I don't actually know where on the island it is. If this guy doesn't have it anymore,
or he just never came back to the island.
So somebody here might know where he is if he's not here.
So go talk to the pirates.
But I was under the impression they were coming back to the island to make a deal.
Oh. We got here in the nick of time.
Mm-hmm. So you want to jump out now or later?
I can no longer skill fall either. It's a splat. So if we're not all going down, I guess I'm not going down. But
you can still, if you must stay on the ship, you could still, if we decide to attack with the ship, you could still help.
Jay, help me out. Refresh my memory here. But does the ship have something on board that can help detect nearby stones? I mean, this thing was designed to house these units, so is there something on board that can be used to detect?
Make an Arcana check.
Okay. 17.
You find enough like arcane circuitry, so to give it a little backstory on the world because it's relevant. Just the same as we in our modern technology very commonly use copper as a conductor for electricity. In the creation of magical items, sort of stable enchantments put into objects, the common conductor is going to be what they call hot forged Pyrium, but most of it is cold forged. You find the circuitry necessary for of hot forged Pyrium wire to basically project an array of a holographic detection, but you recognize that it's designed for something that would be able to tap into the divination sphere. And you have no such object at this moment.
All right, so yeah, we know it's somewhere around here, but we don't know where.
You're literally you're going after the stone that would allow you to use this array to find the stones.
I guess we got to get down somehow, at some point, whether it's with the pirates or not. Can we see any? Is it nighttime? What time is it?
I mean, it's It's about midday at this point, but because of the cloud cover, it's pretty dark. It's well on like late evening, if not like actual nightfall level light.
Can we see any structures on the island that maybe somebody would have been staying in, or anything developed?
With the perception check that you made, one of the things I mentioned was that there's what looks like an old rundown shack somewhere in the swamp.
How wide is this island? Are we talking just a couple miles, or?
Yeah, like it's not that big, really. It looks like large enough that it could contain the equivalent of maybe 20 pirate ships.
Is there a side with a coral reef?
There is not.
Okay then. That shoots my little thing. So are we talking to the pirates, or are we killing pirates?
I think we talk, and if they prove to be hostile and not amiable to our search, then we broadside them in twain. I imagine that we have them vastly outgunned with our superior firepower on board here.
Should we hover over them and talk through the loudspeaker at them?
I'll start piloting over in that direction.
For clarification,
Is the loudspeaker canon now?
no, the loudspeaker is the result. It would be the result of like an illusion stone kind of thing, projecting one's voice. No, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing.
Are cantrips a thing, so I can still boom
Oh, yeah.
my voice out? Okay.
I mean, if you have the fear and you can do that, 100%, why not?
Okay.
Ronnie, would you be friendly to these people?
I don't know who they are. Well, the last time I saw the group of people I'm thinking about, they all tried to kill me.
Well, so we like dangle Ronnie out, and if they attack her, then we know who they are.
Well, I was thinking of going down there and talking with Rocky, and I'm wondering, would Ronnie benefit that meeting or hurt that meeting?
You want you and me to go talk to people.
I want me and Rocky.
Oh, you said Rocky.
He was debating whether you would help or hurt the situation if you came along.
What do you think? Why don't you take Jareth with you?
Actually, that could work. They wouldn't know you.
That's legitimately a good idea, considering that he has a fairly decent charisma, and this is his job.
All right. Would you like to join us, sir?
Sure. Sounds like fun.
All right.
Holy the
If things go down, we will bail.
All right, load up in the spire shot torpedo.
You guys do have a bit. You can go down in the bit if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go down on the bit.
I thought only I could fit in the bit.
You're big enough
Actually-
to put yourself in the bit, but if somebody else were to climb into the bit, there'd be enough room for at least 2 humanoid people. One humanoid, that is, say, one medium-sized person and a small-sized person would fit comfortably.
Yeah, that's what we did one time. So
Rocky, I think you can just jump.
Okay, bye. Just kidding.
you just
Do you take fall damage? You're a rock.
I'm sure
blow
I
a hole through their whole ship. Just fall through.
Could we, okay, question. Could we park the key over their ship? Is there like a hatch that I could just drop down if I needed to?
Yeah.
That is theoretically plausible, yeah.
Nice.
Can
So
just
if we
take over their
part
ship while we're
like-
fighting? I would love a pirate ship.
Nice.
I mean, that would
We could-
it must be fun just to drop Rocky from like 300 feet and have him blasted with a ship.
Boarding a ship without permission is an aggressive act.
We're
So,
debating on whether or not we're fighting these people or not. So
so if you want to
Battle
talk
intensifies now, setting this call simultaneously. You notice that there is a scatter of movement. It looks like they are moving quickly toward one central location.
are they still in combat, or have they dispatched whatever they're fighting?
You can't really tell. I mean, make an insight check.
I don't think we should park like on the beach.
Natural
I think
20.
taking a bit down.
I meant to say this, but I didn't want to talk over Ronnie. I would say disadvantage because of the fog. It's difficult to tell from this distance.
That's fine.
Oh.
10.
Wah, wah.
Okay. No, yeah. So, I mean, you would have a pretty good beat on what's going on, except for that stupid fog. You see a lot of movement, and you see that it's all moving in a specific direction. But like I said, several lightning bolts strike simultaneously, and you're not entirely sure what's going on, really.
So wait, maybe I missed it. Is the goose attacking the ship?
The goose flew into the fog, and you can no longer see it.
Okay. And was there a person riding the goose when we saw
I
it
saw
last
a
night?
person riding a goose last night, and he was playing with lightning. All we see right now is light.
Lightning and a bunch of movement.
Okay.
Like Chad's computer crashed.
PC just crashed.
Oh, I see it.
He is frozen
With a fabulous
I'll go
mustache.
jump in a bit.
with a fabulous mustache. Okay, so what's going on? Who's going where?
Well, the pirates are being attacked right now. I don't know if they're going to really be in a position to talk.
Were we gonna park the key over? How far away from the ship are the pirates?
Um,
From their ship, not ours.
From their ship. Their pirate ship is parked out here,
Oh, okay.
and
So
the
it's
pirates
not-
are in here.
Gotcha. I mean, we could park over land, have our landing party try to talk to them while they're fighting, or we can maybe join in and help save them. Maybe they'll talk to us if we save them.
What if we hover light and see if we can look and see what they're fighting?
I like
And
it.
then, I like the idea of helping them. Maybe they will help us if we help them out.
You notice that there's suddenly where there was a lot of movement before, there is now no movement whatsoever, and the fog begins to settle. As it settles, you notice that you can't see any of the people you saw before.
Oh.
Everything is strangely still.
Is there anybody on the pirate ship?
Make a perception check at disadvantage.
Okay. 15.
So between the wind, the rain, and the fog, it's a little difficult, but Jareth, your eyes are pretty keen for a cat's. You stare through it and you watch carefully until you're able to detect that there is in fact movement, but it's very slight, and it looks like it's what amounts to a skeleton crew, just keeping things ready. It looks like they're positioned ready to drop sail at any moment.
We could try talking to the people on the ship.
Works for me.
They might at least have, if they're willing to talk at all, they would at least tell us what they're doing here, maybe, and what they're fighting, or at the very least, maybe what they're fighting. And if they shoot back, they will know what their position is.
I say we try. Let's like keep a good 20 feet away or so we can not be boarded.
Might come up from behind them. They generally won't have a cannon pointed in that direction.
I forgot pirate ships have those.
Sounds good to me.
While you're staring at the ship and everybody's discussing how they'd like to handle things, what is the AC of the key? It would probably be the hull.
15.
You're just teaching us that we don't talk things over, we just do them.
Yeah, we tried.
First idea someone has to do it.
It's not a bad idea to have a conversation, but while things are happening, having a brief conversation might be the better way to go. 2, 3, 4. 5. That's 4. 25 points of damage as an enormous, what looks like a miniature catapult gets swiveled in place toward the rear of the ship, where several people are sort of near the helm, sort of operating this enormous weapon. A huge boulder comes flying out from that position and just clangs loudly, sending a reverberating echo throughout the key as the hull of the key is now dented in on one side, and you can hear the explosion as the boulder shatters apart against the key's hull.
Well, this brings us to a close on our diplomatic mission.
Dragon's figurehead. Dragon's figurehead. We get 60 feet, and we're going to blow up that ship. How dare they?
All right, so if I'm not mistaken, I think the key, we ran it kind of by ear last time, but the key actually gets its own initiative. Let me make sure I understand this correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, so actions. This part of the stat block specifies what the ship can do on its turn, including its special actions rather than the actions used by creatures. It even relies on its actions to move. It doesn't have a move otherwise. The ship's captain decides which actions to use. A given action can be chosen only once during a turn. So the way this works is you would need a number of crew available to act. The actions of a ship go as follows. If it has fewer than a certain capacity of crew, it can only take a certain number of actions. If it has fewer than, I think, 3, it can't take actions at all. So the idea is that in order to operate the ship entity, in order for it to have a turn at all, it needs to have a certain number of crew members operating it. Now, as of right now, the number of crew you have is obviously limited. You would be using yourself as a member of the crew if you wanted to dedicate yourself to the operation of the ship. You also do have 2 Dubro mages who would qualify as crew if you want them to function and leave you guys available to actually do your fighting and everything else.
I was just about to ask if Beavis and Butthead were still on board.
Yes, Beavis and Butthead are still on board.
Okay.
How much crew do we have to have in order to make it function?
That'll all be included in the stats that I left you guys on Classroom. Let me take a look real quick.
Also, how many? You didn't. I don't think I heard you say how many of us need to be on the ship, like total. To make
So on its own, the key can take 3 actions, choosing from the options below. It can take only two actions if it has fewer than 8 crew, and only 1 action if it has fewer than 4. It can't take these actions if it has no crew.
What is the 1 power stone equals 1?
So
Does that mean power stones act as a crew?
Yes. Theoretically, you can have the power stone. If the power stone is awakened, if it has 3, then it counts as.
And we have how many of those in there?
You have a total of 12 slots in the main key, but it's just a matter of how many you've slotted into which places. I think you have 4, but I'm not sure if all are awakened.
No, I don't think they're all awakened.
So take an inventory real quick of how many power stones you have that have a total of 3 talents.
Protection does.
Okay.
Destruction.
Okay.
Mind Stone. I think technically the Warp Stone only had 2.
Right.
Because I had Mage Hand, Misty Step, and Dimension Door.
Think back. The ones that would have been awakened are the ones that you've actually physically met. So
Yeah, that's definitely Mind Stone then.
Death Stone should have 3. The protection stone, I think, should have 3. Isn't that right? Finney should have 3.
Yeah, he's got 3.
The time stone, you've met Han. You've met
Destruction
Kodan the Duel, Mind. Rocky is the destruction stone, so you've met him. Alteration, I don't think you've met. That one has only 1
No.
or 2. Which one is it?
It's 2.
It's 2. And then the warp stone, Ronnie, I don't think you've met somebody, but you've gotten 2 on there, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I think it's just 2.
And then the light stone, I don't think you've met either. So you've got 2 there, 1 or 2. Which one is it?
Well, the light stone's not with us anyway, so.
You're right. So I'm going to go ahead and put a note that there's 2 there, just because I don't know. But anyway, okay. So the time stone, the death stone, sorry, I'll refer to them as crew because that's what they are. Han, Bugale Yzbrid, the death stone, Finney, the protection stone, obviously Rocky himself, and then the mind stone, Kova Madul, or as you would call him, I was about to call him Anthrax. No, Artax. So now, in order for Rocky to count as a crew member, you would have to essentially allocate your consciousness to the key. So you would be motionless wherever it is you are. Your consciousness would be operative in the key. So you may as well just be there in the key if you want to count as a crew member. So that brings back 1. Artax would count as 1 for sure. Finney would count as 1 as long as he was remaining on the ship. That would mean, obviously, if you want to take him with you, Brand, he wouldn't count as a crew. And then Han would be there. And then Bugale Yzbrid. So you've got the Death Stone, the Time Stone, and the Mind Stone. So you've got 3 crew right there. It sounds like 1 more person is going to have to stay on board if you want to count as having 4 crew.
I'll stay on board.
Okay, so that means
Chat if you're talking to us.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think I was just loose on the. Okay. I'll stay on board and man the helm.
Okay. I think that's a good idea considering you're the captain, and obviously the captain is the one who chooses the actions anyway. So with you making the commands and your 3 awakened stone spirits, you can have a total of 2 actions. Remember that you have to use an action to move, so unless you're using that action to move, you're stationary.
How far off
Going?
the ship are we?
Well, at this point, you're close enough to be fired upon by the mangonels of the pirate ship, and that has a range of 200. So you're within 200 feet.
You need to get within 60
Are we
feet.
with or against the wind?
At this point, I would say no matter which direction you are, you're against the wind because of the abnormal weather conditions.
So we're moving very slowly then.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah. All right, so I'll go ahead and come back around to initiative. Every person has their own initiative, obviously, and then the ship has its initiative, and then the enemy ship has an initiative. So let's start with 25 to 20.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to use my inspiration on this. 'Cause
Okay.
why not? We've got
25.
Ooh, 5, okay.
21.
Who's at 21?
Jareth.
Jareth is at 21.
I'm at 24.
Oh, well, they're right. Yara at 24 then. And then Jareth at 21. You guys roll good initiatives. Right, 15 to 20.
17.
Okay, here's at 17. 10 to 15.
14.
13.
Okay. Bran is at 14. Rocky is at 13. The enemy ship is at 10. And Yara, go ahead and roll initiative for the key.
Is it -3?
Yeah, it's your dex.
1.
Oh no. Okay. All right, sounds good. So Ronnie, you're up top. And I'm just gonna go ahead and roll to see how far away you are. Yeah, you're about 101 feet away. So we'll call it 100.
Okay. I'm going to get closer so we can attack them.
The spire shot can fire 200 feet, can it?
It was really
Yeah.
dumb of them to just shoot us first. It
You're-
really was.
Your energy beams can shoot 120 and 480 long, so
Oh,
But you remember the last time you made your maintenance check, that was disconnected and it was never
oh
repaired.
yeah. We can't use
the
that.
energy beams are not working?
Yeah, they were disconnected. They're non-functional at the moment.
Do we also need to be super careful that we don't actually accidentally shoot a spire into the deep water? Can we get it back if it's in deep water?
Rocky can get it for us.
That's an excellent question that you have not answered yet.
Ramming speed.
Okay, sounds good. So because
It's
all of
my
you,
turn.
because
I
all of you
know.
are
I'm
still
just
on
saying we
board,
can't.
because all of you are still on board, you do legitimately have over 8 crew members. So you have 3 actions at the moment. It'll come down until nobody's acted until the maelstrom gets to have its turn, and then the key will get their 3 actions. Does that make sense? Since nobody's really able to do anything, we'll just count you as crew for the moment.
Well, hold on. Could I replace the warp stone in the helm feature so we can just teleport to where we want to be?
Theoretically, yeah. So
Then I can put back whatever stone's in after I'm done.
you can pop it out. The ring that has the stone that's in there right now, it has 3 other slots. Each ring has 4 slots. So you can fit as many stones as you want to, up to 4 within any given feature.
Okay, so I want to put the warp stone in the helm.
Okay.
We can teleport where we want to be, which I'm assuming is within 60
Point
feet.
blank.
That's what I want to be.
Blasting, yeah.
And then I want to take it back.
So you spend your turn socket warp stone. It takes 1 round for it to initialize. So that's your turn for this round.
Okay.
Yara, are you doing anything this round?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that I'm aware that you're resocketing the warp stone.
I mean, if you guys talk to each other, sure.
All right.
I'm saying it out loud. It's like, I'm going to get us closer.
So I will prep the dragon's breath then.
Okay.
So basically prime it to fire.
All right. So you're activating the destruction stone feature for the weapons.
Yeah, I'm not firing it yet, but I'm basically getting it ready to fire as soon as we get within range.
Correct. Okay, so you're the dragon's head arcane how manifests the pro of the key. What are you doing?
I don't think I have anything I can really do at this point.
Okay. No preparatory spells or anything?
No.
Okay. Hero?
Well, I thought I had something, but the point blank drawback means I can't do anything no matter what range it has. So no, I'm good.
Okay, sounds good. So far we have Jareth and Hero both making themselves available as crew for when the key.
Can I cast haste on the ship?
That's an interesting thought. Until I think of a better reason why it shouldn't work, sure, of course you can.
Okay, I will use is that the time sphere, and I'm gonna cast haste on the ship. That doubles its speed, gives it a +2 to AC, advantage on Dex checks.
And I think doesn't it gain an action?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh,
think so.
because that wasn't
the spell. Yeah, the spell haste. Yes.
Yeah.
The sphere ability, it did not have that ability. Let me just double check here. I wrote down the page number 24.
Yeah, there might be a talent that grants an extra action, but I don't think it's the base talent. Okay, so Jareth communicates all of this to everybody else. Here, you are available to crew member.
No, there's an augment that lets you have an additional attack, dash, disengage, hide, or use of an object.
Okay. Do you want to spend the spell points for the augment?
Sure, why not? I'll spend 2 spell points, and so the ship will also get to use of 1 extra attack, a single attack only, a dash, a disengage, a hide, or use object. So in theory, the ship is moving twice its speed and potentially could do a double move.
Okay, sounds great. So that was Jareth's turn. Hero, you're making yourself available as crew member, so you now have 5 crew. Bran, anything specific?
No, I guess, are activating stone abilities considered an action as well?
Whatever action the sphere ability requires is what it would take.
The stones. For instance, the alteration stone has a scything flanks. Would that require one of
I see what you mean.
these actions?
Yes, that would count as an action, as one of
both.
its actions.
Okay, never mind then. Yeah, I pretty much got nothing until we get in range.
Okay, so your crew, that puts you up to 6 crew this turn.
I guess I'll put the alteration stone in.
Okay. Also, are you reserving Finney? Are you socketing Finney or keeping him with you?
He is staying on the ship. I do not know how you wanted to work that socketing thing.
Right. So he just curls
I
up.
feel like he's just gonna.
He just curls up and settles into the socket. That's fine.
That makes sense.
All right,
You
Rocky.
put
What do
your
you want?
socket, or you're putting him in.
Yeah, which feature? Weapons, hull, sails, or
Hull.
right? Rocky, you're up.
Okay, so closer we do the ship. Okay, can I have the ship? Like, do we want the ship closer to their ship?
Yes, but I think what Jay was saying was that on the initiative of 1, the way what the key rolled is when it gets to move 3 times, because 3 of us will be using the action. So I don't think, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So right now, your skeleton crew basically is Yara and the Stone Spirits. That gets you 4 members of the crew. That gets you 2 actions. Right now, you have 2 people staying behind to act as crew this turn, not acting essentially. So that puts you up to 6. Rocky, if you basically, it doesn't really mean a whole lot if you stick around as a member of the crew this turn, because you're not going to get up to 8 anyway.
I thought we had those 2 other weird wizard guys.
Yeah, are they doing anything?
Right. Yes. So with the Humpty and Dumpty, you're able to get up to 8. So you have all 3 actions. So that leaves you available to do whatever you'd like.
Right.
But we're still 100 feet away. Also.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't do much. Can I? Can I intimidate?
Be loud.
We got to figure out what their names are.
You could ask.
Yara knows what their names are.
Can I intimidate Jekyll and Hyde to work harder?
Are you the first mate, captain? I think that's who gets to make those checks. First mate or the captain?
I'm not.
Then you would not be able to do that.
Okay. Then I guess I'm just going to hold an action to jump out of the ship if we get close enough.
Sounds great. Okay. Rocky is holding an action. The Maelstrom gets to go. The Maelstrom acts on its initiative of 10, and it will... Oh! 3 actions. So it's going to choose... it looks like it's going to drop its sails. And then you'll notice that the people on board now get to their stations, and another stone will be fired from the mangonel, and 18 will hit the key's AC. Another rock will come hurtling out of nowhere. Not nowhere, but from the mangonel. I should just set these aside. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, another 27 more damage to the hull of the key from the mangonel. The second mangonel gets crewed, and then you have 4 ballistas on deck, or that is to say 2 ballistas, each of which can fire twice, that have now been crewed, and that's all of its actions. So 1, 2, 3, yep. That brings it down to the key. And Yara, you're the one in command, so you call the shots. You have 3 actions because you have 8 crew.
Have we teleported yet?
Not yet. It's going to take until the beginning of Ronnie's turn to load.
Okay. We were just getting blasted here.
I mean,
We
pretty
can move,
spicy.
though, right?
The Death Stone, can I socket that to hole?
You sure can.
Okay. That should help us along.
All right. Also, I just want to make sure any of the stones that are counting as crew members right now will have to be socketed to function as crew. So let me make sure. So we've got, is the time stone socketed?
Yes.
Death stone?
Yeah.
Finny is also socketed, and then the Mind Stone, is that socketed?
Yep.
Okay, great. So just double checking. Great. You have 3 actions, Captain. What are you doing?
We're so far out. I guess just firing. We're being fired upon, so we're returning fire at this point.
Okay, sounds good. What are your 3 actions? Are you going to fire the Spire Shot?
Well, that's the only weapon that's currently functioning, so yes.
All right. You have 2 shots with the Spire Shot, and I think activating the Spire Shot as a weapon is 1 action. But you also have an additional action, which basically, because of haste, allows you to load another 2 spires and fire those 2 as well.
Okay. Then that still gives me 1 action left.
Yep. You can use it to move.
Well, we're about ready to teleport, so can I just prime the Dragon Blasty?
Yeah.
So that when we teleport, we just unload with the Dragon Head.
So we'll say you're readying an action to fire the Dragon Head as soon as you have warped.
Correct.
Okay, sounds great.
Yep. So Spire Shot firing away.
Yeah, so it's going to be a total of 4 attacks with the Spire Shot, and that brings your 9 down to 5.
Okay. Yeah. 9. I'm guessing I'm rolling for those.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you, as the captain, are commanding one of your crew members to do it.
No, I'll just start a fire. I don't know what anybody else is doing, so.
Sounds great.
+5 hit. Okay. 19.
Hits.
12.
Hits.
11.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Did you say 12?
Yes.
I apologize. The 12 and the 11 will not hit.
And then 18.
Yeah, so you got 2 hits on the Maelstrom. Also, now that you're sort of in combat and you can see what's going on, you recognize that there is a way to actually target specific systems on the Maelstrom. If you choose, you can target the helm, the oars, the sails, the ballistas, the mangonels, or the ram. Doing damage to these specific systems will disable them after a certain point or make them less effective. If you just target the ship and you do damage directly to the hull, the effect essentially is that it will sink when it reaches, critical hit points.
Oh, I'm gonna blast.
So which one are you targeting right now?
Just the hull.
Okay, great. So go ahead and do your damage on 2 mangonels. Or I'm sorry, 2 Spire Shot.
Uh, 29 for 1. And then 32 on
29 plus 32 is
Uh,
61. I don't know.
61 damage to the hull. A couple of spire shots sticking out at odd angles. The other two go flying off into the soup. And you see now one of them sticking out through the fall. You presume in the water. The other one disappears entirely. That's the end of the Key's turn. Are you going to use that third one to move? Or, oh, yeah, that's right. You were priming the, yeah. All right, we'll back up to Ronnie. At the beginning of your turn, the warp stone initializes. Everything is ready. In order to use the warp stone, it will take an action from the Key on its turn.
Okay, so I'll just stand there.
All right. Are you offering yourself as a crew this turn?
Sure.
Okay, great. Yara, what are you doing?
I just went. Oh, is that the ship section?
That was the Key. That was the Key.
Still too far out of range, really, to do much of anything at this point. So I guess I'm just crewing and getting ready to fire that weapon whenever we teleport.
Sounds good. So we'll count you as crew. Jareth, anything specific?
Wait,
I'm concentrating on the
Okay.
So yeah, so at this point I don't have anything I can do.
Okay. Hero.
So we have not warped yet. I don't know what to do.
Okay, your crew. Brand.
Guess same thing.
Crew. Rocky.
I get anything.
Okay. You guys. Okay. Maelstrom is going to fire its ballistas. It has 4 attacks. Now that it has seen the Spire shot in action, it's going to target your defense systems on the Spire. So what's the armor class of the Spire itself? The Spire shot?
Yeah, 15.
And get a +2 from the haste cell. So one ballista will shoot. It got a 17. The next one fails. The third one succeeds. The fourth one is a natural 1. So 2 hits and a fail. I'd like to introduce you guys to our new crit fail cards. We saw the crit cards last time. These are from Pathfinder, so I'm adapting them, but this one is ranged. You are dazzled until the end of your next turn. How does that interpret it into 5th edition? I have a little cheat sheet that I made. Dazzled. They can't use passive skills, and they are at a negative on their wisdom modifiers. So they're at a disadvantage on wisdom checks. Okay, so as they attempt to fire one of the ballistas, they accidentally set off some onboard, like a barrel of gunpowder, basically, and it explodes, and they are sort of detect with all of the flash and bang happening what's going on around them, so they're not able to detect things passively, or and they're at disadvantage on their wisdom checks. So that being said, the other 2 will hit, which deal 3d10 piercing twice, because 2 hit. 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 19 plus another 18 plus 5 is 23. So 19 plus 23 is...
Yeah. All right, we have ethereal quality right now because the ghost socketed in the hole.
Oh.
So we have resistance against non-magical piercing attacks.
Well, that is true, but again, it takes a turn for any non-socketed stones to initialize. So it wouldn't have taken until your turn. Right. So what was that? 23 plus 19, that's 42 points of damage to the Spire shot systems.
Okay.
So one Spire becomes unusable per 10 damage taken. We'll say that you've basically been reduced from 5 now to 1 spire shot left. They're still attached. They're just damaged and they can't be used. All right, that was the maelstrom. The key, your 1 action to warp triggers. So that's 1 out of the 3 you have this round. But your other held action also triggers. So you can now use, you are now repositioned wherever you choose to be because of the warp, and the dragon head goes off.
Let's see. Probably just want to be right behind them, and then just blast them. Cone right across the ship bow.
Sounds
so
great.
Full blasty.
If you'll permit me a moment.
Yeah, they were really stupid to shoot us first.
Hey, yeah, they didn't know what was going on, so you got 1 bit.
I mean, they're walloping us pretty good so far, but that's
brought
about.
They brought a ballista to a Purium fight.
That's about to change real quick here.
Okay.
Most of us are going to be able to board that ship and still leave the key perfectly functional.
All right, so you are now engaged in direct combat. You've warped in and are now firing the prow straight across its forward bow. Go ahead and make your attack.
Yeah, so a 60-foot cone of fire just breaks across the ship.
Yep.
So
Is there like a dexterity saving throw or anything?
each creature and object in the cone gets a DC 12 dexterity saving throw to take half damage.
Okay. DC 12 dexterity saving throw. There's 2, 3.
But it hits. I mean, I don't know how big that ship is, but it hits 60 feet of it, basically.
Yep. So there's people. That's not. You know what? I'll just roll this twice. So there are a total of 6 crew that matter. What's the DC? 12?
It's 12.
Okay, so 1 fails. 1 gets a natural 1, 1 gets a 3. So yeah, 3 of the crew will say 1 on the mangonels and 2 on the ballista. So it's down to now 1 mangonel shot and 2 until the crew are replaced. They are mooks with like a hit point of 1. So yeah, they get hit, they explode. And then the ship itself gets a roll, and it fails, so it takes whatever damage you're doing.
22 points of damage.
All right, so the maelstrom. Of the 61, so that puts it at 83 damage. And the fog that was previously there just gets swept away and evaporates as now the deck itself and the sails are on fire. You have 2 actions left as the key. What would you like to do?
All right, so it's time to board.
I guess 2 actions left. Blah, 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 blah. Well, can I ram them? Since I'm right next to them?
Sure you can. Of course you can.
Yeah, I'm kind of angry. They've dented up the ship pretty good, so.
Yep.
They're getting rammed.
Okay. So any damage that your ship takes from the crash is applied to the naval ram
Hold on.
rather than the ship.
We have scything flanks. Would you be able to use that instead?
I think it's in addition to. Anytime.
Okay. So
Actually, I don't know if I can ram it. If the ghost helm is activated, we're ethereal. So does that even work?
So then that's what's happening as your second. So you've come out, you've warped. That's one action. You have triggered your held action from last turn to trigger the dragon head figure head, and then you're using a second action to go ethereal using the Death Stone. So that third action is then what? I mean, you could ram it and then go ethereal.
No, I don't know if I want to just. Bear with me, people. I'm like, there's a lot of abilities. I'm trying to go through quickly.
Do we need to be ethereal?
Well, if we're ethereal, we won't take nearly as much damage from. Like we basically.
I also didn't realize that the protection stone now gives us a boost too and whatnot.
Well, combined together, they'll pretty much make us almost immune to one type of damage attack.
So, for clarification, because this is all very new to everyone, and I've already dropped a Spheres of Power update on you. While any number of stones can be socketed into the key, only one in each feature can be activated at a given time. So, for example, you could easily switch as an action from the Death Stone to the different stone from the hull. But you can only have one or the other active at a given time.
Oh, I thought that they combine because the adaptive hull says if the ship has resistance, it gets immunity, and I don't like the other stones give resistance, so I thought they like stacked. That's why I thought you could work them together.
Sure, there are some that can be socketed into a different feature, though. So it might be able to offer resistance depending on where it's
okay. Either way, the Death Stone and the hull will cut our damage in half, so I'm just going to leave that where it's at. The last action, I don't really want to shoot any more Spire Shot. We've only got one left right now. Can I do a general assist action with the ship? So can I help the crew? So if they go to attack and board, then I've got like an help action. I'm just asking because I'm trying to think of I don't know what else to do with this last action here. We don't need to move.
I mean, you sure you don't want to ram? You could always fire that last Spire Shot. Actually, hang on. Is it only within a certain range? I think you have to be oriented toward the thing in order to.
I'll ram if I can. I just don't know if I can while I'm ethereal.
Well, yeah, for sure, ram and then go ethereal.
Okay. Yeah, I'm blasting it then.
Okay, go ahead.
So crash. I guess there's no attack roll really. I just smash into him.
Correct. You literally just move into the space of the ship, and you and the other ship crash into each other. So the way this works.
So this is going to do a lot of damage to both of us. Oh well.
Yes, that's the idea. I'm going to look this up on D&D Beyond here real quick. I know it's in there in the crashing a ship, Ghosts of Salt. So when a ship crashes, it must immediately make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw.
Which we have advantage on.
Yes, because you're the one doing the crashing. Constitution saving throw, yeah. So it succeeds. The other ship, the Maelstrom, succeeds. On a failed save, it takes damage to its hull based on the size of the creature or object it crashed into, as shown on the crash damage.
It says 16d10 for the weapon blade ram.
Yeah, it also stops moving if the object or creature is one size smaller than it or larger. I would say this ship is a size category smaller. Wait, actually, there is legitimately a size category on here. What size is the key? Gargantuan? Same size. Okay. So then that doesn't matter. But it does say, otherwise the ship continues moving and the creature or object collided with moves to the nearest scientific space that isn't in the ship's path. So since they're both gargantuan, they both essentially stop each other. A creature struck by the ship, crash damage. So you are a gargantuan. You roll 16d10. And
Oh, good God, I misread that. Okay. I thought it was D6s. That's
yeah,
a lot.
16 D10.
I'm just going to roll 1 and multiply because I don't really want to roll 16.
You can take the average. You can take the
Okay.
average. You can
Let's
call
just do
it
the
five
average. Let's just do the average then.
Yeah, 5 times 16 then.
130
5.
divided by. No, wait.
It's
So
80,
80.
isn't it?
80.
So yeah, 80 points of damage. All right, so the Maelstrom, because it made its save, I'm going to say takes 40 instead. And then any damage that would be dealt to your ship is dealt to the ram instead of the hull.
Okay.
So it's taking 40 damage on top of its 83. That puts it at 123. You notice that it gets a solid chunk out of its hull, torn out. All right, that was the keys, and then you go ethereal. That was the keys 3 actions. You are now well within your ability. All 4 of these locations are iris doors that you can exit out of. So where you would be socketing the stones is here. So you'll be going up along this ladder that's essentially just a series of immovable rods. So it's hovering in the center of the key itself. You would be climbing along that ladder, and then you could get out on one of these 4 iris openings. So we'll assume that you have enough movement to get out one of those irises if you choose on your turn. That would bring it back up to Ronnie. You're up top.
Hey, Jay, since I was holding an action to jump out of the ship, could I do that now?
Yes. So I will go ahead and say that you have jumped out of this ship. So you're below that hole.
Okay. Do I need to take any fall damage or anything?
Nope.
Okay. That was all I was holding.
Just rammed it. So you're like, 10, 15 feet above where you were. And if you hang down, you're a huge sized creature. You're fine.
Okay.
So you exit the ship. Ronnie, what are you doing?
Okay, so we already did the dragon thing.
Yep.
Is there anyone surviving on board, or is it just a?
Oh, there's plenty of people on board. You see several people over here, several people over there. There's a couple people here each.
What are they doing after we set them on fire?
Well, you've rammed their ship, set fire to their sails, and the whole ship probably is like listing a little bit like this even. So they're all like recovering. They're all trying to stand up. Three of the people, like 2 people on the ballista here and 1 person on the mangonel here, are all have all fallen to the ground completely dead. The others are trying to scramble to make up the difference. And there's like a couple of people up here in the crow's nest, and they're all scrambling to recover basically.
Can I kind of lean out one of the openings and fire at someone who's out of weapon?
Sure.
I'm going to use my short bow. 17.
17 will hit.
Okay.
You deal damage, they die.
Okay.
These guys are new. They're crew. They don't count for pretty much anything. So
11 points of damage.
Oh yeah, they're dead.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So Ronnie runs, and do you exit the ship or do you just fire from the iris?
I fire from the ship. I don't leave it.
Okay, so you stomp on the ring around the iris. The door opens and it remains open so long as you are in contact with it. And from there, you fire down at, what was it, the ballista or the mangonel?
The mangonel.
The mangonel. So the other person on that mangonel is now dead. They'll have to re-crew it in order to fire.
Okay.
Okay, great. So that was Ronnie's turn. We are now to Yara. You can stay with the ship?
Yeah, I'll just stay at the helm.
You're welcome to take a turn, It just means you're going to be on the ship while you're taking your turn.
No. Yeah, I don't have it. I mean, I'm just gonna stay on the ship and.
Okay, sounds good. Jareth, what are you doing?
I'm also going to go forward to the portal that Ronnie has opened, and I'm going to shoot at the. Can I see the other mangrel?
The mangonel. The other mangonel's over here.
Can I see the crew on it right now?
Yeah, there's a couple of dudes on either side.
Okay, I'm going to fire at them with my hand crossbow. Or how far away is that?
It's actually, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, so 30, 35 feet. But I will say that from where you are right now, like Ronnie was able to fire at the mangonel just below her because of the angle. But you could stick your head out and see what's going on, but probably in order to actually fire a crossbow, you're going to have to get down. Because the angle is...
Right, are we at ship level?
Yeah, I mean, you're able to drop through that iris and land on the ship, no problem.
Sure, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll drop down.
Okay.
Is there anybody near me?
There's a couple of dead sailors here, and there are several just crew members running around frantically trying to, fill in where they're needed.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot at the mangonel crew.
The crew on the mangonel. Okay, go ahead and make your attack roll.
So that's a 21.
That'll hit.
Point damage.
Yeah.
All right, I get a second shot. $17.
That also hits.
5 points of damage.
All right, he takes it to the knee, but he stays up. All right, that was Jareth's turn. Hero.
I would like to also drop down onto the ship, please.
Where the blazes is she?
I was Jester. I can't do
Oh,
gestures.
that's right. You were Jester. Okay, you guys. All right. Where would you like to come out?
I mean, that the 1 second from the tip is fine if I can get.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you drop down onto the ship here.
How much movement do I have left after that?
I mean, probably it's going to take about that much to get to the ship. So you're on board and you can see what's going on, but you haven't got much movement left.
Is there anyone? Can I see anyone who looks more important than a cabin boy?
You've got somebody manning a ballista from up here. You got 2 people, actually. Well, no. 4 people manning a ballista. Well, no, 2. Yeah, that's right. Here, you got 2 people manning a ballista here, although one of them is dead, I think. And then the rest, like people in the crow's nest and stuff. So they all kind of look like just people running the ship, honestly.
Okay. Is there anyone immediately within 5 feet of me when I drop down?
Sure. There's someone right there.
Cool. I want to punch him, but question. I want to use as an action my glow ability.
Okay. Yes.
It's an action. It does say I have to make a melee spell attack. It doesn't say I actually do damage. I don't know if it actually deals damage or if it's just a punch. I don't actually want to deal damage, is the thing.
So I hear you saying you don't want to deal damage.
Correct. I have a plan.
Okay. So this is a light sphere ability.
Yes, it's one of the base ones is called glow. It's a 10-minute
Right.
duration, 1 action, 120 feet. But because
Right.
I'm point blank, I have to actually be in touch range.
Okay.
It does say it requires a melee spell attack.
Right.
Or a ranged spell attack. So I don't.
Okay.
Can I do it somehow without dealing damage? Because there's no damage for the glow ability.
Correct.
But it implies that there's damage.
So your melee spell attack, it's the difference between punching somebody in the face and like
grabbing his collar,
making physical contact with them. Like in my mind, I imagine what Hero's actually doing is like giving somebody a light jab with her fingers so that you make contact, but you're not dealing any damage. You're just making contact. That's it.
Okay. Well, that's my action. As a bonus action, I can spend 1 spell point to augment my glow with bound light.
Okay. Excellent. And what does that do?
When you brighten this glow, which with my action I would have imposed on him.
Correct.
Okay, hang on. I'm sorry. I think it's implying that I actually have to actually land a hit is what the thing is with the melee spell attack. So let me see if I even hit him.
What's the name of the talent?
It's not glow is the base one.
Right, and then the talent that you're applying, bound light.
Bound light, but the actual action of glow I have to hit him with first. That's why it requires a melee spell attack. So I need to.
Yeah. So the melee spell attack is actually requiring you to hit his AC, but it isn't dealing any damage.
Correct. I'm just saying. Is it dark? It's kind of going in dark. I don't have disadvantage.
Yeah, it's nighttime. You're good. I mean, it's not nighttime, but it's dark out.
Melee spell attack is plus. So many windows. 10. 21 to hit.
New spell abilities. Who dis? You hit.
Cool. I'll grab him by the collar and I will use bound light. It traps him inside a prison of light. He is restrained. There is no save.
In addition, the target must pass a spellcasting ability check against your sphere DC to use any form of dimensional travel, such as the dimension door spell. Okay, yeah. So the thing that he could potentially avoid this with is just having a high AC. Because you are really good at punching things, he had almost no chance whatsoever. His entire body is consumed in light, and he is immediately seized in place. He is restrained.
Cool, and I'll let him go, because, he'll just be our little friend for later.
Yeah.
And I'll just
He's just there.
That's it.
He can't move.
Yeah, that's my turn. Although I think I have to make a bunch of saves now because of the light sphere, so I'll get to that.
Yay! All right, you have fun with that. While we move on to Bran.
I got a new toy back. Vortex.
So many rolls, Jay.
Hey, you're the one who chose your drawbacks, not me. I applaud you for your bravery. What are you doing, Bran?
Cool.
I got my vortex back.
Ooh, you got your vortex.
I did.
All right, what does it do?
It creates a 20-foot cube of the tornado. And I would like that placed just a smidge away from the key.
Okay. And are you attempting to envelop crew members of the Maelstrom?
Yep.
By the way, I'm wanting to share because it's fun, and we finally have gotten around to it. This is the mini I'm using.
Hey, that's cool.
Cool.
That is cool.
Quite apt.
So anyway, he's there, but he's on board.
That works.
So you throw your vortex down, and how big of an area is that?
20-foot cube.
One moment. This is the first time I've gotten to use these. You guys have no idea. I am so excited to actually use this stuff. 20 foot cube. 5, 10, 15.
Oh, cool.
That'll do. So where is it?
Yeah, that works. I mean,
All right.
it's going to encapsulate as many baddies.
As many baddies?
Where are they at?
We'll say here because that's
Okay.
going to encapsulate the mangonel, the mangonel and the ballista.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Yay! I used the thing you guys bought me. Whee! Okay. What is it? What does it do? What's the effect?
Well, they make a DC 18 strength save, which I'm not sure how that works, or take 3d8 bludgeoning and get sucked up.
One saves. The one dude on the main on the ballista saves.
Okay.
The others get sucked up into the vortex. Go ahead and do your damage.
All right. Just 1, 2, 3. Let's do 13 apiece.
Oof! All of you see this swirl of air and fog suddenly sort of converge from above and below as it sucks 3 of the crew members up into it, and in this bloody mess, you see 3 men lose their lives in a swirling tornado of doom. That was Brand's turn.
The one that succeeds, he still takes damage. He just doesn't get sucked up.
Oh, okay, so he takes damage as well.
Yeah, but he's only, what is it? I think he can move at half speed.
Okay.
No, restrained for the round, and half. Okay.
So how much is half damage?
No, it looks like it takes the full damage. He just only moves at half speed.
Oh. Okay. Well, if it's all the full damage, then it looks like he holds on.
No, you're right. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to read the whole thing.
Very good. So how much is half damage then?
I'm not even seeing half. I don't think he takes anything.
Oh, okay, great. So he holds on, and he takes no damage as the air kills all of his fellow sailors.
Cool.
Great.
Didn't just kill my prisoner, did he?
No.
Okay, good.
No, your prisoner's right here. His are all over here.
Cool. Just check.
All right, that was Bran. Rocky. Well, actually, I should say, Bran. In order to do that, you would have had to drop down onto the ship.
Okay.
So that you have some visual on it. Rocky, what are you doing?
Are there any bad guys left?
There's one guy that's alive over here with the ballista. There's one dude all the way over here that's alive with the ballista. There's one guy at the helm. And there's just a whole bunch of them running around, scared. Several in the crow's nest. A couple on the rigging on either side.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. So.
Eldritch Blast. Pew, pew.
What do you think I am? A
Just...
magic user? I want to get within range of 2 of them.
Okay. We'll say if you go here, you can grab one guy off the rigging and another guy by the ballista.
All right. I'm going to do a full attack round on the guy on the ballista.
All right, do it.
So that is a 22 to hit, another 22 to hit, and a 13 to hit.
The 222s definitely hit.
All right, so he takes... I'm not even going to roll damage, so I splatter that guy. And then I'm going to use a hit die to do a sweeping attack so I can attack the other guy.
Okay.
And I think it just... I just do damage to the other person. I don't even have to roll to attack him.
There you go.
So I guess I take out 2 guys.
Awesome. So your arm spikes emerge and you begin just tearing through the crew of the Maelstrom, completely just ripping everybody to shreds.
This seems mean.
What's that?
No, it seems mean now.
He's the Destruction Stone.
No,
this is what he did.
Not him, just this whole situation.
They started this fight.
They fired on us,
That's
so
true.
they get whatever's coming to them at this point.
True.
They did. Okay. It is now the Maelstrom's turn. You see coming out of the fog and shouting orders. What languages you guys know?
Abyssal, Deep Speech, Infernal, and Common.
Any other languages?
I don't even know.
Eves, Camp, Meonian, Terran, and Seraphim.
Leonian, Terran, and Seraphim. Okay. Anything else? All right. So you recognize Ronnie. Say again.
Pigman?
Pigman, not Pigman. You recognize Ronnie. One of them, it sounds like coming out of the fog, is shouting orders in a dialect of Primordial, which Terran is a dialect of Primordial, but it's not Terran. And I mean, you catch every other word. It's a little difficult to understand. You know, it's like listening to somebody with an accent from a different part of the country, and you know, with enough hustle and bustle around you, missing every other word. But it sounds like, you know, let's go. Basically, you get the message. Let's go. So all of them come charging out of the fog here. When you finally get a visual on these guys, you see a crew that appear to be experienced adventurers.
These guys deserve tokens.
I mean, you're not wrong. Okay. So I'll go ahead and show them to you, actually.
Zoom in on that shit.
So you've got a woman wearing a sort of cloud blue cloak, large hooked kind of weapon at her side, wind blown, etc. She climbs on board. She begins shouting orders. Coming in after her, you see another woman wearing a red bandana and a thick, like, raincoat, like a slicker, basically, and she's carrying a crossbow, and she starts charging up the ramp after her. Close behind her, almost as if they're moving in unison, you see a halfling who, bald head, bit of a severe look, bristly beard underneath, comes in and follows her. Then you see something that none of you have actually seen before. Very rare appearance. It's actually so small, I'll actually use the bigger one. That makes it easier to see. So that's the bigger one. You see what can only be described as a 6-year-old with long pointed ears, razor sharp, like shark's teeth, with sort of a grayish blue skin, carrying a long, like, cleaver knife. Not cleaver, no. A chopper knife that looks like it's been dented and maybe even bitten into, really rusty. And he's carrying on his shoulder a macaw that appears to be half his own size, red bandana, red eyes, and you could swear from this distance that bandana was soaked in blood. Hook hand, just gruesome looking dude, eyes glow in the dark. He rushes on board.
It's the captain.
And then you see coming in behind you, or behind all of them, this enormous, literal giant of a man, huge legs up this walkway here, the gangplank, and riding on his shoulder is that goose that you recognize flying past several times. Not very big at this moment. It's perched on his shoulder and it appears about the size of his head. So you can imagine a goose with a guy whose head is the same size as the goose. And he is bearing this enormous staff, like as big around as Rocky's wrist, and he's holding it in one hand. And at the top of this staff, I'll show you the picture, you can see it's enshrouded in this electrical energy. It's got 3 prongs. And as he barrels onto the ship, he shouts in this primordial language, which you would recognize, and he's calling literally the lightning by name in primordial. And he holds this staff up to the sky, and immediately anyone who is currently visible from above, essentially, so who would it be? So Jareth, Hero, Bran, and Rocky, all four of you get struck with lightning bolts.
Do any of them touch my twister?
It looks like several of them are coming aboard where your twister would be. Yes.
Okay. Well, they would have to make the saving throw. And would the big guy be able to pass by without making the saving throw?
Yeah, he's big enough. Like he basically just ran from the shore onto the gangplank and then over the edge of the ship and then on board the ship.
Is there a saving throw?
For lightning?
I figured, yeah.
So these two roll saving throws. The little man makes it. The goblin gets swept up and takes damage.
Just flies off.
Let's see. Call lightning. Okay. Actually, which one would be higher? Oh.
I think we actually have seen goblins before, but
it might not be a goblin.
It was like OG.
Yeah. You know that the only natural creatures on Athanasia are animals, humans, and a hybrid of the two. Goblins are otherworldly to the sight of anybody, any native.
I remember Erlisung meeting a little group of goblins, though.
Yeah.
Eating them?
Meeting.
No. It was either eating, meeting, or beating, so...
Okay, so the four I mentioned before,
ironically.
Bran, Hero, Jareth, and Rocky, go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh.
19.
Natural 20.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Which gives me a total dex save of 20.
All right, so Rocky saves. Hero, what'd you get?
19.
19, you're good. Bran?
8.
Okay, so you failed, Jareth.
Evasion.
19.
19. Okay, you saved.
I still... Thankfully, elementalists still get evasion.
10,
That's useful.
Yeah.
4. So those who saved take 12 points of lightning damage. Those who failed take 24 points of lightning damage. And you notice that the captain, the hooded woman, calls out for the ship to make way. And the remaining crew basically drop what they're doing on the weapons, pull the ropes on the sails tight, and the entire ship now uses its entire turn, 3 actions to move.
Do they need my guy to make the ship work at all? Because
no, they don't.
I figured.
They'll be pretty good. So they are now moving at full speed, and the captain has ordered a full speed ahead, so that allows them to move. I can't remember how much extra it is. Nope, not that. Special oxygen, full speed ahead. Roll a d6 and multiply times 5. They gain an extra 30 feet of movement to the ship speed. So the ship speed goes from sails 50 feet while sailing with the wind. And you notice that as soon as this guy comes on board, he waves his huge staff, shoves it forward, and the wind immediately changes direction to accommodate, and it's now blowing the direction that they are going. So it's 50 feet plus the 30 for the full speed ahead is 80, and they're using all 3 movements, so 80 times 3 becomes 80, 16, 240 feet that way and away from the island. With that, we're going to continue this combat next time, where everybody is on board and Yara is watching as the pirate ship is sailing away.
Isn't Ronnie still on the ship too?
I'm not. I'm on the key.
Yeah, so Ronnie and Yara watch as the entire pirate ship sails away. And that's what we're going to call it.
Rocky's on that ship.
We
We
have
to
now
stay.
become prisoners. Because that key can't catch up, can it? I guess we'll find out.
So,
I do want to say, I'm marked it down already, but I failed my con save, and so I'm poisoned for this round.
Oh.
what was your damage on the goblin?
He wrote
For the
it
vortex?
in chat, it's 13.
Oh, okay. 13 on the goblin. Okay, great, thanks. Does the vortex, I don't suppose it stays relative to the point you cast it. I think it stays relative to the point in space, right?
Well, it actually has to have some sort of water to cast out of, so I'm assuming it would be bound to the water.
Oh, that's interesting. So this would have needed to like hover over one side of the ship or the other, basically.
Yeah.
But regardless, what I'm hearing you say is that you cast it on a location and then it stays in that location. Is that right?
That since it has to be cast out of the water, I'm assuming it would stay with that. But yeah,
Okay. As the ship moves away, I think as the ship moves away, your vortex is being left behind.
That's my understanding. However, shouldn't it be dealing damage to literally everything, even the ship?
How does the ability read? I guess.
I mean, I guess we can look into it, but
Just out of
it is late.
curiosity as well, are there still flames on the top of the ship from that big blast of fire? Like,
Dragon
is some
thing?
of the wood still burning?
How
And
does
it looks like we are literally inside of it.
how does the ability read? The fire.
Give me a sec.
I'm gonna check out. Night, guys.
Night.
Cool. See you later.
No, Charles.
A 60-foot cone of elemental energy emanates from the figurehead.
Mm-hmm.
Each creature and object in the cone must make DC 12 dexterity saving throw or take 66 damage of the chosen type on a failed save. That's all it says.
Okay.
Just splat. Cone of elemental fire comes out,
Fire.
damaging everything.
Yeah, I'm going to say, considering the fact that it's, number 1, raining, 2, foggy, and 3, over water, it's pretty damp. It's not going to catch anything on fire permanently unless there was some kind of fuel like oil that was keeping it going.
Okay.
So you guys are 240 feet away from the key when we pick back up again next time.
Cool. I'm glad I can no longer run on water.
Bye.
Thank you later, Chad.
All right, night, guys.
See you, Dave.
Right.
Later.
Thank you, Jay.
Bye.
Can't wait to blow everything up next session.
Hey, I'm ready for it. It's going to be great.